Hello, and welcome to Independent Talent, the most action-packed indie wrestling podcast on the entire fucking planet. If you're pregnant, have high blood pressure, or experience dizziness, then you've been warned, because your ear holes are about to be crammed full of the #1 local wrestling show in the Mid-South. Now, here's your host, hailing from parts unknown, Lemonjuice McGee.
Welcome to the third episode of Independent Talent, the newest and best professional wrestling podcast that covers the independent wrestling scene in the Mid-South of the United States. I'm your host, Lemonjuice McGee, and I've had zero sleep for days. It is kind of ridiculous, and I might die. With me tonight is the fighting man, Matt Pierce.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
That was an unexpected congratulations from you. Usually you say something insane, so there you go. And our resident wrestling historian, Hoagie Masters.
I get up every morning, I wrestle a cow, and then I eat him.
There's the insanity. Okay, so how was your guys' weeks this week? Anything cool going down?
I was abducted by aliens.
All right. Anything from you, Hoagie?
Not a lot. I ate a lot of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Watched some wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Ate a little more meat?
Yeah, so it's pretty damn good week.
Watch some more wrestling?
Yeah, you always got to watch some wrestling.
Gravied up that meat and shoved it down your gullet.
Yeah.
Just cramming the big slice of beef down your throat.
That's right. Sit at home and eat meat and watch wrestling.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. We had a pretty good weekend. We hit up SIWF in Albany, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Great show. Good times. The entire show tonight is going to be a pre-recorded interview that we did with independent wrestler Corey Statik. Super cool dude. We went to his house. We hung out. We talked for a long fucking time. Some of it we recorded. That's what you'll be hearing. Which works out good because while that's happening, I'm just going to lay down in this floor.
Yeah.
And continue to not sleep, I think. But we'll see how it goes. The studio floor is concrete. It's ridiculous, really.
Yeah.
It's mostly blood-stained carpet and concrete. It's really no good for anybody. I'm probably going to pick up a disease.
The floor's really sticky, too. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's not weird. I mean, we know why that's the way it is, but we can't get into that. I mean, we can. I mean, fuck, we can say whatever we want, really. But anyways. So there you go. Independent Talent, Episode 3. Here is an awesome interview with Corey Statik.
Shooting the shit.
And this is Shooting the Shit. This is the very first one of these we've done. This is where we interview an independent wrestler or manager or promoter or talent or whatever, whoever we fucking want to interview. Tonight, it's me, fighting man Matt Pierce.
What's up?
And our interviewee, he is known primarily lately for Pro Wrestling Revolution and T.S.W. out of the London Corbin area in Kentucky, Corey Statik.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Sir.
So, we really have no set format for this. We have no actual journalistic skills really at all.
Fair enough.
So, let's get right into things. What is like your first memory at all of wrestling?
I guess if I had to pinpoint it, it's hard just because it's been for 20 plus years. Like you guys watch wrestling since I was a kid, man. I guess the first memory I see was probably the Ultimate Warrior. You know, the bright, the colorful, the gear, and the face paint. It was just cool, man. He just kind of drug you into and made you pay attention, and that's why it was really rough. Him passing away, I was like, man, that was the first memory of professional wrestling I have. Was watching the Warrior on TV run around the ring like a maniac, and from that moment on, I was like, that's all right, man. I'm in, and I've been a fan ever since. So
yeah, and he's one of those guys that people crapped on what he could do in the ring and everything, but it didn't matter. Like
no, man.
He did what he was supposed to do.
No, I went back. If you guys go back, you probably have a million times, and later on you learn to appreciate matches. You go back and watch his stuff now with like Rick Rude, and it was great. I mean, granted, Rick probably put a lot of it together and carried a lot of the match, but at the same time, Warrior kept up, and one of the greatest matches ever was him and Hogan from WrestleMania 6, and both guys were limited at best in their in-ring ability. Let's face it, they didn't have a lot of things they done, but it was one of the greatest matches ever.
Yeah,
it was the coolest thing you'd ever seen. It was the first match I remember being a big deal as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first time since WrestleMania 3, they went back to the Dome and 80,000 people roughly. Yeah. Edge was there, right? I mean,
or him and Macho King. You know,
him and Macho had good. You know, that's the one match I think I've seen it so much. Like I know it's bad, but I may skip over that one in a DVD just because I've seen it so much at this time. It's just like I'll watch him and Rude from WrestleMania for the title or the cage match they had. But it was just he was cool, man. Like you said, he was one of those guys that. You know, people shit on his skills, but it didn't matter. You know,
yeah, captivate a crowd. That's what you're paid to do.
That's his job. Yeah, to get the people into it, and he did. Yep. Long story short, he was one of the, and now he's an icon. Is an icon still. So legendary. So tragic story, tragic ending, but it was one of those. It was cool to see. It was just weird. You know, he was there. He did the Hall of Fame. He was there on Raw. That was it. I was like, oof.
I've got a shirt signed from the Hall of Fame.
Do you really?
Like 2 days before. Like, it's weird, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Weird.
Watching him on Raw and that last promo on Raw, you could tell something was not right. Yeah. And then the next morning, I was just like, wow. I remember waking up. I remember it's going to be down. You know, people will talk about. Or I remember where I was when Elvis died, or I remember where I was when in our generation where Michael Jackson died. Now, for me, I'm like, I remember where I was when Warrior died. You know, I'd woke up in the middle of the night and checked the dirt sheets and saw it and was still heartbroken to this day. You know, so. But that's him. Yeah, he's the guy that got me into it. So
speaking of getting into it, how long have you been wrestling for?
Like 7 or 8 years. I think I've been doing it now. Roughly. I can't really pinpoint the year anymore, but I remember going to Frankfurt and getting our license. And it was it's a lot easier then than it is now. You have to have promoters and stuff. I think help you get licensed now, and then you just send them money.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember. My friend, you guys, Brock Landers, Loverboy Brock Landers, who wrestles around the area. Yeah. First time he got his wrestling license, it asks you on the application what qualified you to be a wrestler. He wrote, "I look good in tights." That's a true story, and they sent him his wrestling license. He will tell you that to this day.
Yeah. That may have been the answer they were looking for.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's what they were. Creativity maybe got him a plus there. But yeah, that was his answer, and he's been a wrestling licensed wrestler a lot longer than I have, so it worked for him.
So you went to Frankfurt, got your license.
Yep.
Where'd you train?
In a backyard in Barberville.
Yeah.
Yes. There was a ring in a yard, and it was just beat to death. And a guy that'll probably you guys will hear about later on the show, Ryan Dukey, is the person responsible for training me. And we trained for a couple weeks, and that was it. And he's like, man, I've taught you everything I can teach you. He's like, you just got to go do it. And he's like, that's at some point when you train, you train and you learn what you can, and then the best way to learn, you got to have matches. You got to get in there because there's certain things you can't learn just in training. So yeah, literally in somebody's yard in Barberville, Kentucky, in a beat down ring with holes in it it felt like concrete. I learned to train. I learned to wrestle. So I learned what I like to call wrestling. Whether or not that works for me now is debatable. But he's the guy, and that's how it. A few weeks and I was in the ring. So
nice. So how was that first match?
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was a tag match, luckily. It was in Tennessee, Lake City, maybe?
Lake City?
Who knows, hell. And it was for a company called, I believe it was T.S.W, maybe? It may have been T.S.W also for down there, but I don't remember. And I was in a tag match, and I didn't really tell the guys in the back it was my first match because they were veterans, so to speak, and a lot of the times veterans like to break in a newbie. And I was like, well, I've been training, I've been in business for a few months, and went out there, and luckily I just kind of stood on the apron for the most part and let my partner take. I never met either three of the guys in the match with me. I'd never met before. Luckily, Ryan Dukey was on the show with me, so he got me booked on the show. So we went together. So that helps when you know at least one person. And it was very nerve-wracking, very very nervous feeling. And
say so.
Yeah, very because you don't know, especially now. Like I still to this day, you still get a little nervous feeling. At least I do for someone I've never worked before, because you just never know what they're going to do when you get in there. But especially if you've never even been in a ring. But the guy that helped me more in that match than anybody was my friend Spur, who's a referee in Tennessee, Justin Spurlock, and he was feeding me line. He was helping me. He's like, "Here's what you do here," and he was the biggest help for me was Spur the ref, which is what he's known as in Tennessee, and he's just the best ref I've ever been in the business with. Man, he's awesome. So
was there any like? Oh, let me cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Was there anything like anxiety or anything that you need to overcome to do it, or was it just pretty much?
No, like I'd always wanted to be a wrestler since I was a kid. You know, it's one of those things that you always in the back of your mind like that'd be really cool to do, and you never really think about it being obtainable until, like I said, I made friends with Ryan and other guys, and I'd start going to more local shows and watching them wrestle. Because, you know, when you're a kid, your parents take you to the wrestling show that come. You don't realize how often it comes to town. Yeah. For me, it was a big deal when it would come to the bingo parlor in Corbin. We'd go watch it when I was a kid and stuff. But then I started making friends with guys that actually done it, and I was like, hey, and Ron was like, I'll train you if you want to train. And I was like, why not, man? We tried it, and it wasn't like one of those, like, a light went off. It was one of those in the back of your mind, be like, I'd really like to try it if I could ever find access to do it. And that's all it was, you know. I just made friends in the right places, and it took off from there, so to speak, I guess.
Cool.
So, have you, over the course of your wrestling,
yes.
Before we get to the good, let's talk about the bad.
Oh, okay.
What's been like the worst situation you've been in the ring? Like, is there something not working out, or just something that ended up being way more dangerous than you thought it would be?
Being in the ring with guys that are less than talented at what they do is, for putting it nicely, I'm not going to name drop or anything because probably I couldn't remember names specifically, but anytime you're in the ring with a guy that's not trained properly, or that knows more than you do but really doesn't know more than you do, it's always a dangerous situation. That can be, especially if they're the ones trying to lead, and that can always be dangerous. Luckily for me, I try to avoid all the bullshit gimmick matches and stuff. I'm like, I've been in a couple like ladder matches and stuff, but I try for the most part to try to stay away from that, because I see other people go out there and kill themselves, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that. You know, it's different kind of performance for me. Like, you'll go back and watch matches. The biggest comparison for me I always make is like the TLC matches that you see on TV now, or like when the Hardys were doing their stuff with Edge, Christian, and Douglas, and they're going out there and killing each other and falling off 20-foot ladders to the floor through 4 tables. But if you go back and watch WrestleMania 10 and watch Shawn and Razor in that ladder match, it was a beautiful match, and they didn't do hardly anything. Like, they did, but they didn't go out there. I think Shawn Michaels done one big move off the ladder. He done that splash. Yeah, that was it. The rest of the time they used the ladder on each other as like the weapon. But now you see, like, it just, people set themselves on fire, and I've seen people use, was it the guy from Sick Nick Mondo or whatever? Have you guys seen the Weed Eater incident? Oh, yeah. You've not seen that, where he got tied to the ropes and the guy held the Weed Eater to his stomach? Yep. Why would you do that?
I guess I'll have to YouTube that.
It's on there. It's on YouTube, and he's all scarred up now. I'm like, dude, how much do you make? I guarantee what you got paid wasn't worth that.
Or even the light tube stuff that people do now. Like,
light tube, it's just like, I mean, it is what it is. If that's what you hear, I feel if that's what you have to do to get the crowd into it, is it really worth? Is it really worth? You know, physically, bodily hard. But no, as far as dangerous, I try to avoid danger at all costs. But no, there's been, you know, certain moves that you may bump funny or fall funny or land awkward that may hurt for a couple days. But for the most part, you know, I've escaped no major injuries, no cuts, nothing like that. So just some chops here and there, which they suck. I don't like taking them. I will, but I don't like it. Nobody does, I don't think. But nah, for the most part, I've been pretty lucky in that particular aspect of the business, so to speak. Thankfully.
So what's been your highlight thus far?
I don't know if I've had one. I've had several. Like, anytime you get to work with any of your buddies, it's always a highlight for me. Like, I've wrestled Ryan. I couldn't tell you how many times. And we always have good matches. I always feel good about that. And I wrestled a guy we were talking about earlier on before the show started, Sean Schultz. And I wrestled him in London here once. And he could have. It's one of those moments. Like, I knew Schultz before the he's a buddy of mine. I think very highly of. He's one guy that I feel like should be on TV. Every Monday night. I really feel that way about Schultz. And I'm not just saying that because we're friends. There's certain guys in the wrestling business I was fans of before I got into business. He was one guy I've seen work and I just thought he's great. You know, he's phenomenal. I wrestled him up here in London, and he could have buried me and made me look terrible. He really could have, but he didn't. He made me look like $1 million. He taught me that night how to work a TV match. And he put me in it was phenomenal. It's the best match I've probably ever had. And I went to the bed. It's one of those you get kind of a high when you know you've had a good match, and you went, and he did. He could have made me look terrible, and he didn't. I was nervous because he was calling everything to me, and he's like, "You want to call it back?" And I'm like, "No, man, just tell me when we get out there." And he's like, "All right." And It's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. But no, it was probably for me that was cool. And a lot of the stuff you think about before the wrestling when you get in, like, oh, I can't wait to win a belt and stuff. All that stuff, like when you get into business and realize it just gets ripped away because you're like, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're over, you're over. You don't have to have some guys need that title to push them to the top. Other guys don't. You know, it's just. But yeah, as far as anytime I get to work with my friends or anytime I have a good match that I feel like, okay, that was cool. Like last time you guys were in Corbin, I worked Alex Angel and I went to the back and I felt like I was like, that was a good. Everybody was like, that's the best match I've seen you have in a while. I'm like,
it was a tight match.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We had issues with it in the back, but we finally got them hammered out. And Alex is another guy I respect, think the world of. We had been. There's certain people in the business you pine. You're like, man, I can't wait to work with it. And we were both. We'd been on so many shows together. We were just like, one day, eventually, it's going to happen. We're gonna. And finally, they put us together, and we went to the back, and everybody was happy with it. And I was like, it could have. I just wish they'd give us. We'd been able to go longer, and hopefully one day we will. But no, that was cool. That was a good moment for me. But yeah, and then I've worked with other guys. Like there's a guy from the Cincinnati area named Sean Casey, who was one of the head trainers at OVW that trained guys like Randy Orton and John Cena and Lesnar, Brock Lesnar, and you know I got to share the ring with him a few times, and that for me was like, man, that's cool. You know, he's the guy that put these guys on TV where they're at, and that was cool for me because he was one of those guys. I was a huge fan of his before I even got in the business, and the first show I did with him, I told him. A lot of guys are like, quit marking out for these guys. I'm like, no, if I appreciate your work, I'm going to tell you. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm a huge fan, and he's one of the nicest guys I've been around. So it's very fortunate to. Most people are cool with me, luckily. Most so far. There's a few, but nah.
Oh man. So outside of wrestling, I mean, your character, you don't have like this. You're not an Indian or a cowboy. You're pretty much what you see is what you get for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think. Seem to be very much into like pop culture stuff, like we very much are here on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So we'll just run down some quick questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Favorite comic book character?
As cliche as it's become recently, I really, really, really love. Deadpool became my guy. At first, it was Batman, and I still love Batman because I was a kid, and that was. You guys probably remember exactly when the Tim Burton movie came out. God, man, that was amazing, and it's still to this day probably my favorite. I don't care what anyone says. That's my go-to Batman movie.
The animated series is some of the best animation.
That gave us Harley Quinn, who's on fire right now, man. And without that, we wouldn't have her. But I went Deadpool after I got really into comics. Deadpool because I just think for one, he's funny. He brings a comedy element to it. And a lot of the comic book purists will shit on him because of the whole fourth wall stuff. I think it's amazing. Now, I have the purist in me only particularly cares for certain writers that do Deadpool because I don't feel like everybody can write Deadpool. Yeah. Like Cullen Bunn, who does the miniseries, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe was artwork. It's a work of art. People want to talk about the Killing Joke, which is great. Yeah. The Killing Joke left me. I don't know how you guys felt about it.
I think the ending of it is stupid as shit.
Yeah,
because Batman and the Joker laugh and laugh, and then Batman, you're laughing. Barbara Gordon possibly got raped.
Yeah. And then it just that I'm okay with open endings, but that one I'm like, did he kill him before the cops got there? Did he let him go?
Yeah.
Because everybody, the big running story with Batman is why would Batman kill the Joker? Because if he kills the Joker, that's. Yeah. There'd be no need for that. You'd feel like he would be done.
That's what they say, except he's got 90,000.
I know. Yeah, I'm like, do you guys not remember his other fucking
He's got Clayface.
He's got Clayface. And my favorite, Scarecrow. I don't know why. I just always thought Scarecrow was the coolest, especially in the Batman Begins movie. They give him a different swing, and I kind of
I like the ventriloquist of Scarface because puppets are creepy.
Puppets are creepy. Yeah. And the video game, the Arkham games with Scarecrow were a total new twist on Scarecrow that I thought was, and apparently he's going to be the main villain in the new one. Give him his due finally.
And, you got like the Mad Hatter, and you got
Mad Hatter, Zaz, and all these. Catwoman's always been. And Ivy, I think, never got a fair shake. I mean, the one time you saw her in a movie, it was Uma Thurman, and it was the worst fucking Batman movie on the planet.
You didn't like those nipply suits and the chrome. And
when I was a kid, the only thing I remember about it was very the production on it was very pleasing to the eye. The colors, it was very bright and vibrant and stuff. But that's the only thing that movie has going for it.
Well, that
period.
Yeah. And I may be wrong because I confused the two movies, but all the Schwarzenegger puns
That's it. That's Batman and Robin. Yeah.
Yeah.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Yeah. It's not even funny.
And Arnold's one of those guys too that he doesn't get enough credit as an actor.
Yeah.
He's a great. I mean, he does all the action flicks, but dude, he was Terminator 2 is arguably the greatest action sci-fi movie ever.
Well, have you seen that trailer for Maggie?
No.
Oh, it's in the movie where his daughter gets bit and she's turned into a zombie.
I saw.
So he gets to take her home for before she has to take her to quarantine.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just on it. Like it looks like an indie movie. Like he's
really.
Yeah.
I'm interested already.
Yeah.
I saw like a post for it where they compared it with they're like Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting zombies.
He's not.
Like,
He's not like punching everybody, shooting everybody. Schwarzenegger. Like he gets beat up by these cops. Like he's yeah.
I like it.
It's more just like he's a dad. You know.
I'm into it. Then I'll go check it out.
But then he's gonna do a Conan, so fuck it. He'll still be cutting people.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, and he's in Terminator. He's playing with me next too.
Yeah, he's been in all of them. Why wouldn't he be in the next one if he's still alive? Pushing out the fucking wheelchair if he's alive. It's a Terminator movie, goddammit. I want Arnold on the screen somewhere. It'd be fucking pointless to have a Terminator without Arnold if he's, again, alive. And if he's not alive, fuck it. Holograms are huge now, right?
CGI.
Apparently?
He was a CGI in Salvation anyway. So.
Was he?
Yeah,
that's right.
Just a young version of him. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. So, boom.
Speaking of movies, let's go with that. Favorite movie?
Ever?
Fuck.
I
mean, the general go-to we generally get from people normally would be Star Wars.
No, not me. It fluctuates. Yeah, Star Trek. No, absolutely not. Although my fond memories, I have Star Trek. Was it Deep Space Nine with Picard?
Oh no, Next Generation.
Next Generation was the. I remember my dad was a fucking huge fan, so I watched it a lot as a kid. But favorite movie? Fuck.
Dirty Dancing.
Yes. If I had to pick, like it always fluctuates. For a while, it was Sin City. The first Sin City, because I thought the sequel was just like the sequel. If it was the sequel was all the Joseph Gordon-Levitt parts in the movie, it would be way better because I was just like, man. And I don't know if it was just that bad or if it was just the first one was so good that the second
they used
one,
a lot of the best stories for the first one.
Yeah,
I think
did.
It was a combination of that and also it was a really long time.
Yeah.
So I think that might hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
there was a big gap in between the movies, but that and surprisingly, Young Guns.
Young Guns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Young Guns is
good.
really
Young
good.
Guns, and I'm not a huge. There's a huge. Part of me like there's 5 or 6 westerns that I just absolutely love, and it's right there with Quick and the Dead, and Unforgiven, Tombstone.
Dude, those fucking good movies.
Fucking Young Guns though was like Young Guns was like the cool hip cast.
Yeah.
When it first came out, like Charlie Sheen was in Young Guns, Emilio Estevez, and fucking Lou Diamond Phillips.
Emilio Estevez, like at the point where he was like in every movie.
Yeah, and he was Billy the fucking Kid, and he was awesome. I'm like, you're a believable fucking psycho right now, and that's what. Yeah, so Young Guns, Sin City. I don't want to be a nerd and say The Crow, but I really love The Crow. I think it's
The Crow.
great.
Nobody's gonna judge you here. I mean, we will judge you silently, and the listeners will judge
As soon
you
as
at
this
home.
fucking microphone
At home, somebody's like, the fucking Crow.
The
What?
Crow, which had just the worst sequels ever. But the first one was great. And I don't want to be like The Crow because Brandon Lee dies and all that shit. But I mean, so I'm not to put it lightly. I'm sorry that he died, but it's just for me, it's the ultimate love story.
Yeah,
the guy comes back to life from death to avenge his fucking fiance's murder and rape.
Yeah,
fuck, man. But nah, man, Young Guns probably, and then the others are close seconds. I have other movies.
Legally Blonde. I'll see that up there.
Legally Blonde, yes. We have the box sets.
It looks like I was gonna say Legally Blonde box set.
It's the first 2. I've never watched those, by the way.
Is that VHS or is that DVD?
That's a DVD box set, sir. Okay. Those are 2 of them. But nestled right above it, you see Def Comedy Jam box set.
I do see that.
There you go. And I have it in living color upstairs.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm up to date on my comedy. So
I'd go your day exactly. That's like
yeah, that's true. Okay, well I'm behind in the times.
But really, the area of the country that we're in, you're pretty close to up to date.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
You're up and up.
I'm finally learning what that is, and I think Richard Pryor's stand-up is over there somewhere too. So actually, I know
some of the best stand-ups.
Yes,
all time.
I've got the 2-pack I found. I was like, finally.
Oh, nice.
Because like, if you guys ever notice, you go to buy movies and like Walmart will have a movie for 10 fucking years until you want it.
Yeah.
Then you go to get it and they're like, we don't have it. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So
don't get that no more.
But I would say Young Guns, and another movie I forgot to mention, I just found the Blu-ray 3-pack for is Predator.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it when I was a kid with my dad and loved it, and then I bought it again a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, it holds up, man. It's still just the first one It's still just as fucking cool now.
And the second one, a lot of people overlook it, but it's really good too.
I mean,
Danny Glover
stars it.
Yeah.
But it is. I feel like it's far more violent than the first one.
Yeah. I need to go back. It's in there. I've got the 3-pack on Blu-ray because it's got the newest one too.
It's got the gang war.
It's got a lot more nudity.
Yeah.
A lot more people getting skinned alive.
Yeah.
There you go. What more do you want?
Yeah.
And in the newest one they done with Adrian Brody, Predators,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
So I'm surprised they've not. Which I know it was a couple years ago, but if they would have waited, I'm like, man, they could have cashed in big time. You know, there's certain movies I know they're just waiting.
Well, that's one too where they're like, oh, Danny Trejo and all them are gonna be on a planet. They're gonna be hunted by predators. Oh, that's stupid as shit. And then I watched it. It's really good.
And it was finally like the build up, like Alien versus Predator. Was cool as I thought the first one was great. Like the second one was fucking weird because it was really dark.
I think I saw something.
Yeah.
And like I had to adjust my TV settings on it. It was so filmed so dark. Yeah, and I'm like, fuck.
I saw the second one in theaters, and the last third of it, I don't know what happened because you can't fucking see it
Because it's so fucking dark.
Yeah.
But no, the first one I went to the theater to see because I'm like, all right, it's a new Predator movie. I'm fucking going. It ended up being cool. Like there's not, like we talked earlier, some movies are just cool with no depth. It may be considered one of those. Like the storylines, like they just. But when it's Alien versus Predator, I mean, like, do you want depth or do you just want Predator?
You want to
just
see that
fucking shooting and skinning shit. Yeah. So that's what I want. I want to see Predator killing motherfuckers. It's like my favorite horror movie series of all time is Friday the 13th. And people shit on Jason movies because they're bad. Yeah, they're bad movies, but do you really want to fucking watch an Oscar-winning horror movie?
Yeah.
I want to see Jason Voorhees chop people's fucking heads off and break them in half and beat them against trees and sleeping bags.
Well, everybody else does too. Obviously, there's like 20 of them.
Yeah, and they're getting ready to do a new one.
Yeah.
Paramount got the rights back, so they're going to do a new one. And I thought the last one they done, the remake, was fine. I was skeptical because out of my childhood, that's one of the main fucking things of my childhood is Friday the 13th movies. And I was fucking skeptical, but it was good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
So Derek Mears was an okay Jason. Kane Hodder should have been Jason. I feel like he's the only guy at this point that can ever be Jason Voorhees. The fact that he wasn't, I would have liked, Freddy vs. Jason was cool.
Yeah.
Would have been cool with Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
I've said that.
That should have been King Hodder's last one. It should have been that one, not Jason X.
Yeah, and Jason X is fucking ridiculous, but I still watch it because it's got really cool scenes in it. Like some of the murder scenes are fucking cool in it.
He kills a guy with a backbreaker.
He does, and he fucking the lucite where he freezes the bitches.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, freezes the young lady's face in lucite and smashes it on the counter. That was cool, man.
Punches the robot's head off. That's a good movie.
Yeah, he cuts that CGI dinosaur's arm off.
I think Matt saying that's a good movie.
Yeah.
That's probably like the best review that movie's ever gotten. like you're gonna be quoted on the back of like the next DVD edition.
This is a good movie.
Yeah, this is a good movie.
That's like
Matt Pierce, Independent Talent Podcast.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Like what is it?
Matt with two T's.
It's a wrestling podcast. He just
Hey, he give it the most positive review that we've ever had. So that was it's okay. Like it's the worst one probably out of the fucking set.
But my favorite whole Jason thing ever though is Jason takes Manhattan. That dude's boxing him.
Oh, and he knocks his fucking
head off. Yeah.
And then like people shit on Jason X. They're like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, has anyone seen Part 7 where the chick had fucking telekinesis?
Oh yeah,
tell me that makes fucking sense.
That's the one that I. There's a Halloween like that too.
Yeah,
it's like
the second or third.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking with
3
those.
or 4, isn't it? Isn't it the little girl, like his niece Jamie or whatever? Has
So it's like you guys
powers.
don't have to throw in that crap, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just
It's what was big at the time.
fucking ridiculous. So
Jason goes to hell. Jason's not even in that damn movie. Really.
We're at the end, and then they do the fucking tidbit of information. You guys probably know this because you're on the level. Did you know Kane Hodder was the glove that wore the fucking mask under? So technically, he has been all the fucking. He did stunt work for Leatherface and Michael Myers. He's been Jason Voorhees, and he was the glove for Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
So he's technically played in some form or fashion all of the big slasher guys.
He's one of the best people you'll ever meet.
I've heard he's real. I've yet to meet him. He does conventions all the time, so I'm going to travel to one. There's Scarefest. I know is around.
Yeah,
here
I think he usually does that one.
Yeah, he does. He's going to be in Indy at Days of the Dead, which Ric Flair will be at, by the way, gentlemen.
Yeah, Ric Flair also at Fandom Fest in Louisville
with Kevin Nash, who I'm a huge fan of. So, but yeah,
Shredder Kevin Nash.
So I have a plethora of favorite movies, and we just have to break it down by genre. But all-time favorite, probably Young Guns. So
Young Guns. We'll go with Young Guns.
We'll go with Young Guns.
That'll be on your trading card.
Yeah, there you go. That'll be my fucking and my action figure.
That'll be your trivia.
Nah, that's favorite movie.
What's Corey Statik's favorite movie?
Fucking Young Guns. Who knew that? Who saw that coming, right? So Son-in-law, by the way, also.
Yeah.
It's over there. It's not Blu-ray yet, but fuck, it's over there. So
They'll never be that movie Blu-ray. They'll never be Blu-ray.
I bet it fucking is.
It probably is.
If White Men Can't Jump is on Blu-ray at Walmart, then fucking Son-in-Law needs to be too. Which I love. White Men Can't Jump. It's over in the collection somewhere too. So yeah, but Young Guns. So there we go.
Got it. Young Guns.
Young Guns.
All right. So let's see. We're just covering random stuff.
Random shit.
Which really, I feel like how these interviews need to go.
Yeah.
It's better.
Like this
I
is
think.
setting the precedent right now. Is that we just don't really
You got
give two
PS3?
shits.
Four. PS4. What
Yes.
you play?
WWE 2K. That's the main fucking reason I bought that, because of my career mode was not available on the old gens.
Do you have yourself on there?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I do.
Did you get your actual face on there?
No.
Oh, I've done
haven't
that.
yet. Oh,
I've done that.
And other than that, I like I'm just sports games primarily. I like MLB The Show. I'm a big baseball guy, so I like it, and the basketball games and stuff. But there's other games that are coming out that I'm really fucking interested in. So I'm apparently Kingdom Hearts is coming back out. Apparently,
Yeah,
I've never played those, but I'm
new
like,
trailer for
I'll
it.
give it a fucking shot. And what else was the big releases from E3 this weekend that made me go, yeah, that'd be cool.
The biggest one I think was play Final Fantasy. But
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've never
That
played
and
any
Fallout
of
were
those.
like the two. That
Yeah.
Fallout, yeah.
Fallout, I bet it's game of the year.
You think so?
I think so. Because
Alright.
it's coming out in like fucking 2 months. You know, it's like no time.
Oh yeah, so it'll probably be the game of the year then.
Yeah.
So okay.
Good I guess.
So yeah, that's it. So what's
Yeah.
next? Yeah, so the sports games usually are
Sports
my
games.
go-to. Yeah,
Okay.
just because my attention span is somewhat short, and sporting games keep that attention span. So because it's always constantly moving. Like, do you remember like my wife who just wandered downstairs is a big fan of the Walking Dead video games? Did you guys play those?
Oh yeah,
Telltale one
I
was
like
just
those.
Like I couldn't get into them because all you did was like you hit buttons.
I'll tell you what's really good, and I didn't like Borderlands that much, but the Borderlands one, it's really good.
I always like the animation and stuff on Borderlands. I thought it looked really neat.
Everything Telltale does is really good.
Yeah, so I guess now we'll move on. Should we just talk about video games at this point?
Yeah. Do you play
Because-
much online, or do you just
No.
play yourself?
My main is PS4, and then I have the Retro Duo because I still play Nintendo and Super Nintendo games.
Gotcha.
I finally, my biggest claim to fame outside of wrestling is it took me 20 plus years, but I finally beat the first Double Dragon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Finally. I
Okay.
broke a fucking controller over in my hands in the process. She can vouch for that.
Did you beat the Wizards high score?
Which is bullshit. That doesn't even exist. Like that fucking. I love that movie. I have it upstairs somewhere, but that I don't know. I was just like, I do know the glitch though,
Yeah.
where you can get all the hearts in level 2.
Uh-huh.
So I found it, and then I was like, all right, motherfuckers. So now I'm. I finally, that was my biggest claim to fame. I'm like, all right, cool. I beat Double Dragon. I've not touched it fucking since.
Yeah.
But it was like, I was like, oh my god, that was like a big part of my childhood clothes because the game's fucking hard. It's only 4 levels, and you only get fucking like, what is it, 2 or 3 continues.
Yeah.
And once you fucking die, guess what? You go back to fucking level 1. So
I think the real question is have you ever beaten the first Ninja Turtles game on NES?
I bought it shortly. It's in there right now.
Okay.
Shortly after I beat Double
Because
Dragon.
You have no claim to fame until you've beaten.
Have
the
you
Turtles
beaten it?
game. I have not. I don't
You
claim.
have?
I don't claim to be that. Matt's claiming this.
You've ever
I don't
beat-
know anybody that has proof that Matt's done this.
Okay, I started to say, is there proof? I can't get past.
I'm
Can
a
you get past
skeptic.
the goddamn dam?
No,
I can't
no,
get past
I fall in the water. That's it.
That's
Fall in
it.
the water.
Getting past the damn. It's hard to do and not lose any turtles. I can't do it and not lose any turtles.
I can't do it and not lose a fucking all my turtles. I die there. And fucking Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
I've got the code to make it 2 Tyson just because I wanted to try it. Nope. Fuck, dude, that's
Super
ridiculous.
Punch Out I've beaten, not my Tyson
Super Punch Out, I got pretty far in, but I never beat, I don't think. But Punch Out, I can get 2 Tyson, but I can't.
Speaking
fucking
of
get Tyson.
Friday 13th that you love so much,
Yes.
how about that game that you beat and then you don't beat it?
Yeah.
Because it says game over.
Yeah.
I remember I don't remember it being like a really like terrible game.
Yeah.
It's kind of shitty, but it's not that bad.
You just gotta.
It's just really hard.
If you beat it, you go back to the beginning and play again.
Yeah, you gotta beat it 3 times to beat it. That's what it is.
Oh, fuck.
You
Yeah,
have to kill him, and then he gets faster each time, I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or
no,
something.
I've never beaten it, but no, it's not really a bad. It's just say what you want about games now; they're way easier.
Yeah.
Like you
Oh,
play
yeah.
Nintendo games now, and you're like, these were fucking kids games, and they're mind-numbingly difficult. Like
They were Nintendo hard.
violently difficult.
Yeah, like, Nintendo hard was the thing.
Like-
I beat Metroid. That was one thing that I was always proud of.
Nice. I beat the first Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
That game fucking irritate. Like nothing gets me more pissed off than Mario games. Like, I fucking go irate. But I can, part 1 you can beat with the warp zones and shit, so it's not as fun.
Yeah.
Part 2's, everybody shits on it. Part 2's my favorite Mario game ever. People shit on it
Who do you play
because...
as?
Luigi.
Princess
Princess
Fuck
flies.
yeah, because she floats,
Right.
man. Apparently, though, that was, you guys know that, though, probably that's not the original Super Mario 2 or something.
No,
right?
Super Mario 2 actually
Was
is
the-
more like Mario 1.
Yeah, it's like the lost levels on All-Stars, which is fucking insanely
really?
hard. Yeah, like the model for Super Mario 2 is like a Japanese game. It's like the same game, just different characters.
Yeah.
And they put Mario on it.
Then
And I was like, that's why
Well, it
if you
makes
beat-
sense because it's designed completely different.
Yeah, that's why you beat Mario. Have you ever beaten it? You beat Mario. It's a dream.
Yeah.
At the end, it shows him laying in bed after you beat it.
And
It's a
that's-
dream sequence. The
That's
whole
what
thing's fucking
they
big.
just Dallas
that
the whole
guy,
thing.
the
Yeah,
guy.
and then they talk about the third one being like nobody's ever in real danger in the third one because it's like a play,
Yeah.
which is true because
Yeah.
you go to stages and then the opening sequence it's the curtains
Yeah.
and stuff, and I'm like,
And you see
or
like
it
the
could be
stuff,
true.
and you see like the ropes holding up the platforms. And
Yeah, so everybody treats it like it's a play, so nobody's actually in real danger, and I'm like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Fun game.
Sure.
Yeah. The actual Mario 2 has the mushrooms that kill you.
Yeah, they're purple,
Yeah.
and they have
the death
fucking
mushrooms.
they look pissed off. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna
then
play this shit forever.
you need to go.
I got no time. I got no damn time.
Super Mario World
doing
when it came
podcasts.
out. I remember
Yeah.
buying the Super Nintendo, or my grandfather getting me the Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and Super Mario World just being like, for the time's cutting edge. I mean, it looked cool. The colors were just so vibrant. And you rode on Yoshi. I mean, who fucking cool was that? And then when the 64 come out, it was just like a fucking punch in the mouth. It was like, wow, okay. Then Super Mario 64 was great. I mean, that was one of the best systems I remember.
I actually
coming out
jumped
forever.
from Sony back to Nintendo because
Me too.
of 64.
Yeah, I did too. I had a PlayStation 2, and then when WrestleMania 2000 got announced, I'm like, I need a 64.
Yeah, and then No Mercy. No Mercy.
And then No Mercy was
greatest
good,
game.
and then you go back and discover like NWO, WCW Revenge
Yeah.
and shit. And
Which that's still my favorite one.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
so cool. One thing, it didn't have entrance music for the guys. That's the only thing on it I could be like, well, that's negative.
But it had crimson masks
It had,
everywhere.
and it had Hayabusa in it too.
Yeah.
It is.
But he
and
was
it-
called
yeah.
Hayabusa. He was Firefly or something.
And then there was, remember WCW versus the World for PS1?
Yeah.
It had Sting on. There was like no WCW guys on it hardly. I thought that was fucking weird. Like I got it because I'm like Crow Sting's on there, and
Yeah.
we'll get back to the wrestling discussion later. But
Yeah.
Crow Sting was on there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, perfect. So yeah,
Well, Revenge had Ultimate Warrior on it. You can make the Ultimate Warrior out of
of course you could.
Yeah.
And now Ultimate Warrior is everywhere since
Yeah.
he finally got in good graces. They're like, we need to market you because you're a money machine. So, and he is. So I mean, which he deserves to be.
2 games in a row.
I think they kind of learned a
I'm
lesson
sure
from
he'll be
Macho.
on. I'm sure he'll be on 16 too.
Oh, absolutely. Apparently, it's going to be which they say this every year. Apparently, 16 is going to be the biggest roster
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
So she'll have the NXT guys in
I
it, which will
think
make all of us
With
pretty
Warrior,
happy.
I think they kind of learned a lesson with Macho because Macho was starting to come back in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, but-
it just so happened it just
Tragedy.
didn't work out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't work out, which
Yeah.
I would have loved. And like again, we'll go back to the wrestling talk and we'll talk about all that in a minute. But yeah, video games that's my go-to sports games, and then old school games. I don't think I bought a PS4. I mainly use it for Blu-ray player now, but when the new WWE game comes out, I'll be all over it. And
Got a Power Glove. It's bad.
no, I
It's
never.
so bad.
I always wanted one, but I know they're bad. Yes, I always wanted one as a kid, but now you can get them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Yeah.
I had the Power Glove. I had the.
Was it worth it? Was the Power Glove really that?
I used it
fucking
like
cool?
2 times. But hey, I was a kid. I didn't pay for that shit.
Yeah,
What do I care?
I only wanted it because of Punch Out, because I really felt like that would be like, I was like, I bet I can whoop ass with the Power Glove.
Yeah.
Probably not the case at all.
Yeah.
Most time it consisted of you turning your wrist and then punching the controller with your.
So
hand.
you really didn't.
You
that
really
was-
didn't use the glove for shit most of the time.
Yeah.
Then the Wii
Glove
was
ball.
like-
I think glove ball's what you used it for. There was a glove ball.
Yeah, there was like certain games that
Yeah.
you used it for, like the Super Scope for
Well,
NES.
and like that the thing I had for NES, that the running pad thing.
yeah, never fucking. It really didn't work.
And you just sit there and you just pound it with your fist,
Yeah.
and your dude runs 100 mile an hour.
No, so you didn't-
There you go, kids.
Oh,
You just get down the ground, hit it real fast. They don't know if you're running or not. They don't care.
There are no,
They don't give a fuck.
there are no cameras on the NES.
They took your money. That's all
The
they give a
advantage,
fuck
though.
about.
Fuck, I love that thing. The joystick.
Oh, the joystick, yeah.
The NES Advantage had a joystick and the big buttons.
Yeah, the
Oh,
like the
it was
pad.
awesome.
It was like
Yeah.
one of the first pads that came out, right?
It was
So
awesome.
yeah, Nintendo fucking they've got the market and still do in my opinion to this day. They've conquered video games. So
So,
that's king of games.
you say you play yourself on WWE?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Are you champion?
I don't know if I am right now because I restarted my career mode because I got bored. I was, and
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, but I was at one time. I was NXT champion like 3 times, and eventually I just said, "Fuck it, I'm ready to." I got done with that shit. So no, I don't know if I am now. I was world champion. I don't know if I'm WWE champion right now or not.
Well, that's gonna be your quote. Is we're gonna just quote you saying, "I don't know if I'm WWE champion."
Yeah.
I was the next champion 3 times, and I said, "Fuck it."
I said, "Fuck it." I'm better than NXT.
People on the network, they won't know.
No, fuck, they don't know.
They're on the network.
For all they know. Yeah, if you don't know the network, fuck you.
Look, if you don't know the wrestling's past, you can't disprove anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hogan's not here.
Hogan's, he was never NXT champion 3 times. He
no,
probably will be.
Nobody would know who was.
Yeah, he would. He knows the entire title history.
He's
of
ridiculous.
Every belt ever.
I can kind of give you. No, I used to be able to, but anymore I can't. I can give you, like, if you ask me a WrestleMania main event, I could probably tell you that up until the mid-20s. Then it starts to get a little shaky. But I can tell you every match Shawn Michaels has ever had at WrestleMania. So, and probably the finish of that fucking match, to be honest with it.
You can give Hoagie a date and time, because I do it sometimes just to fuck with him, and he'll tell you what wrestling-related thing happened that day.
Yeah, it'll take him a minute,
Fuck.
but he'll figure it out.
God damn, I see. I'm not even.
It's like a fucking computer.
I basically just don't understand numbers. So
Yeah,
I'm just to the point, like, if I've seen it, I know about it, and I can talk about it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to when it happened, where it happened, fucking that's people's.
And I think
that's subjective.
I think Al Snow said it about like the fans once. He's like, the fans know way more about wrestling than fucking I'll ever know. And Al Snow was right. You know, a lot of the guys in the business, you can ask them, who's this and blah, blah. They ain't gonna fucking. They're not gonna remember that shit. You know, they eat, sleep, and breathe that business 24/7. They probably don't go out of their way in their free time to study. Which, and that's I'm not knocking them for it, but fuck. If you're a truck driver, when you come home, do you want to go drive around? Probably fucking not.
Probably.
Right.
You know, they need the downtime and shit, and I think that's why all of them are getting, like, you see Ziggler's doing like stand-up comedy and shit now, and I think that's probably why a lot of them do that shit, just as an escape from that.
Or movies.
Or movies. Well, that's probably got a lot to do with the paycheck.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, you know. Yeah. Cena will be, I know a lot of people were thinking, I mean, he's not yet, but I think a lot of people thought he was going to go Way of the Rock.
I
There
think
for a while, maybe after he retires, maybe. Yeah. I mean, but
he could. I mean, he's.
Yeah, he could. He's
I'm sure he can act as good as Schwarzenegger can. You know,
Yeah.
they're both muscled up. Like,
yeah, they all look the same.
They're all the fucking same.
Well, he done the fucking I never watched them, but he done the Marine movies and shit. I mean, I've heard
that movie is okay up until I think is it that one or 10 Rounds or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like holding a bulletproof vest up in front of him, driving the car where Robert Patrick's shooting at him.
Oh yeah, that's.
And so he's like catching the bullets.
Most of the WWE.
So John Cena's already fought a Terminator.
Yeah. Basically, yes. So never mind.
Never mind.
Never fucking mind.
Triple H was fought Blade.
He did. Yeah. He did.
Had silver fangs.
He lost. He lost.
Yeah, he did.
That's what happened to Triple H.
That's what happened to Triple H. He lost.
One of the few times you can say that.
He put somebody over.
Because
he went over Wesley Snipes.
He wasn't in charge.
He wasn't in charge. He didn't run that fucking.
Yeah, that's right,
motherfucker. God, I could go on a tirade, but I won't. I may later, but won't now. But no, I don't know if I'm champion right now. So to answer that question, come back around to that. So.
All right. So, as far as the wrestling goes,
yes.
What do you see yourself doing in the next coming years? I mean, you see you got some time still?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everybody at one point in time in independent wrestling, everybody says, "Fuck this, I quit," and I've done that before because you just get pissed off and shit doesn't go your way. And I was broken in by wrestlers and friends who were already bitter, so I think I kind of already have that chip on my shoulder from day one. I was like, "Fuck," and it's hard, but yeah. I mean, I've got. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not done yet. I've got. Until I just can't go anymore, until I just say, fuck it. Because it's not like it's costing me money to go do it, you know? I mean, I may not travel very far, but I'm open to it. I don't care. I've got apparently, tentatively, I may end up in West Virginia for a couple shows later on this year. Maybe that's still... But yeah, I mean, it's not too far. But yeah, I mean, sure, why not? Fuck it. It's fun. As long as I keep having fun, I'm there. You know, not all the matches are fun, trust me, but... It may be driving home and bitching about it in the car later is fun. So, yeah, while it's happening, you may get pissed, and after it's pissed, and people piss you off a lot, but it is what it is. People are going to piss me off anywhere, so I figure, fuck it. You know, why not?
Like, goal-wise, you like maybe one day open your own promotion?
Fuck no. No, that's enough. I see friends and shit with enough headaches, and that's money and shit on the line. I'm content being the guy that gets booked to work the show. I don't. If I had like an endless supply of money like Vince does, you should. Why not? But when it's your livelihood on the line, no, because it's just so sporadic. I mean, you never know. I mean, like, you may not. There's just certain things, especially in this area, that can hurt a draw. You know, like, it depends on what season you're in. If it's in the summer, you're not going to draw that well because there's other shit to do. You know, people are going to go on vacations and stuff. Or, you know, during around here, you guys know as well as I do, high school sports and shit in the area. If you're running during that time frame, that could. If one of the teams around here is doing well.
Car show. If you run against
car show, man. Anything that you run against is always going to be
NCAA basketball tournament.
Fucking Kentucky. If you run on the night Kentucky basketball's playing, you better fucking be done with the show before they start, or be early.
We've been to shows that had like 20 people, and that's just because those people didn't know it was Kentucky basketball night.
I've wrestled in front of smaller crowds than 20 people. I went to Danville, Kentucky once and wrestled. If there was 10 people there, you know, I'd be surprised. I wrestled Dookie another match we had, and he beat the shit out of me. Yeah. Not because we hated it. He was just like, man, the crowd's small. I had to get something out of him. I'm like, fuck you. That's not you, motherfucker. That's not a good excuse to fucking kick the shit out of me. So, yeah, it was... I don't know what their problem is. Like, there's just certain shit. I'm just like, you should at least... I mean... People don't want to promote, or it's not that they don't want to promote. It's like I don't know if they think, and this is no anybody in particular. It's just you see it all the time. I think people get on social media and promote, and they think that's good enough, but it's not. You know, in some cases, sure. I mean, it's a good outlet, but you know, I mean, guys like the company Pro Wrestling Revolution. You drive around town, man, there's posters and shit everywhere, and you know, KZW, another local show you guys visit. You know, they're good about postering. T.S.W, the other company I'm with, they're good about postering and shit. But at the same time, it's just like. Unless you are the WWE, nobody cares. I just think that's it. You know, they're the monopoly. They're the fucking big leagues, and it would be like anybody trying to compete against them now would be like trying to start another NBA or another NFL. Yeah. You're just not going to do it. Yeah, they're the only show in town, and that's and they're going to draw the spot themselves. It doesn't matter who their guy is or who the fate. They're going to draw because they're it at this point.
Well, we talked about compared it to movies. I was like. WWE is like the summer Marvel movie.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how shitty it is.
Yep.
People are still going to go watch it because it's just ingrained in them to watch it.
You nailed it.
Yep.
Perfect. Indie wrestling is all the other good movies
that no one cares about. Yeah. It's like the indie films that are like those are really good films, and all it takes is word of mouth is always good. But then again, all it takes is one bad experience, and word of mouth travels faster than anything. And, you know, that's good. And then, like, you know, Pro Wrestling Revolution bring in the well-known guys.
Okay, so we're winding things down. Mm-hmm. But before we end and wrap all this up, we've got to settle something here.
Yes.
Apparently you are let's say a superstar on the WWE Network.
Maybe even a megastar.
I would say so. The match with Andre at WrestleMania 3, right? That really, you know,
in disguise?
Yeah, it was. No, yes, on the Shield documentary that's debuted on and it's on DVD now, by the way, Blu-ray and regular, I'm sure. It's the group of friends that I traveled with to Dayton, Ohio to watch Ring of Honor before Daniel Bryan became the megastar on TV that he is today, along with Tyler Black, or as we all know him now, Seth Rollins, and all the other guys that people, Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, everyone that's good. CM Punk started there.
Chris Hero.
Drop a little bit. Chris Hero, who Claudio / Cesaro was there. It just shows us in the crowd is really cool. Like, it was unexpected because I was pumped to watch that documentary because I'm a big fan of those guys, and it was just cool. I was like, oh wow, that's me in the crowd. So
did you immediately call your lawyer and be like, hey?
I did. I was like, I'm going to need more money from these wrestling promoters automatically because I'm on the network. That's how it works. Yeah. As soon as the WWE camera points at you, you're automatically worth more money. So at least that's how some people feel. So I'm on there. So.
Well, hey, I'm not on there.
You probably are. You probably are.
I might be, but I don't know if they've put up all that.
No, they blur that shit out. You can't do that. I told you. You can't be on camera with that stuff out.
Yeah, they frown upon that.
Well, I mean, I would think that when security's pulling you out of a building with your pants off, they wouldn't be filming that.
Well,
but you never know. You might catch a glimpse.
You may be on a blooper reel or something. One of those YouTube countdowns.
You're in a secret video.
You may be.
There was that time in Africa whenever I low-blowed Randy Orton.
That was you.
That was you. There you go. Africa. That tour
I know that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see that on there.
Hey, I got punched in the face by Eddie Guerrero one time.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, Jesus. Wrestling.
There you go.
Yay, wrestling. It's the common denominator.
It is
It's
common.
everybody's favorite saying in indie. Yay, wrestling.
I love it, man.
Everybody does. You should. Everybody should.
We wouldn't do this show if we didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
None
mean, it
be
tastes
here.
pretty good too.
Does it? Does it? Fuck you.
No, it doesn't at all.
Sorry to say, I didn't get a check. No, we do it because it's fun. Like these things, it's just fun to sit and talk,
Yeah.
to compare notes. You know, between the. How old are you?
I'm 34.
How old are you?
30.
I'm 29. So between us, that's almost 100 years worth of knowledge to
Yeah.
share.
I don't know math, but I'm guessing closer to 250.
Yeah,
250 years.
Of
We
wrestling.
combined time.
We know
Yeah.
more about wrestling than the United States of America has been a thing.
That's right.
Yeah, so yeah,
More or
good
less.
take,
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and Hoagie's not even here.
Yeah.
That's
Eat
it.
it,
And
Hogan.
apparently that guy's got more knowledge by himself
Yeah,
than
that
we
guy,
do
he
combined.
needs nothing. You basically just have to unlock him and
That's
let him go.
actually what the network is they plug it into Hogan's brain and it just
It's
projects
just
the wall.
like, well, tell him to put more fucking nitro on there, then, because let's get into the good part of nitro, and then they just cut it off. And the 2 years that nitro was fucking relevant and really good, and then after that, it was like, nope.
The 86 weeks that it beat the WWE.
Yeah, it was awesome, and then all of a sudden, it bit him in the ass.
Well, I imagine now that Vince owns that, he's burned all of that. He's just
Yeah,
like,
that's what it is. Those 86 weeks that they won, he's like, those don't exist.
Yeah. This is gonna be Saturday night for those.
Those don't exist, yeah. So, so I feel like it would be unjust of us, since this is a wrestling related show, to talk somewhat about wrestling while we're here. We have a little bit. We touched on it a little bit. So what's next? What do we discuss next, gentlemen?
Let's discuss. That's a good question.
That is.
Well,
that
you
is.
said the Ultimate Warrior is the one who got you into.
That drew me in.
Was he also your inspiration as a wrestler? Or do you have one?
Yes. Well, no, I wouldn't say he was my. I don't watch his matches and go, No offense to him, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Different styles.
I'm not the Ultimate Warrior. I don't look like the Ultimate Warrior. But there are guys. We've talked about him, and I'm sure everybody in the love him or hate him, fan or no fan. You know, Shawn Michaels is the guy that I dare say anybody my age that's in the wrestling business or in the WWE that's close to the 30-year-old. If you ask them why they got into wrestling, it's probably because of Shawn Michaels. He became, and is to this day, to my mind, the greatest in-ring performer ever. I'm not saying he's the greatest catch-can wrestler or the greatest wrestler, quote-unquote, but as far as just in-ring performance-wise, I don't think that he has any peers. And there's many people, Jim Cornette has said the same thing, who admittedly is not a big fan of his personally, has said the same. You know, you ask anybody, and they all have the same opinion. Shawn's the greatest to ever put on a pair of boots, I feel like. But, you know, there's other people out there that'll say, you know, Flair is always the guy that comes up into that category. And to me, Flair, I'm much more interested in Flair's promos than his matches, and I would tell anybody that. I mean, he's great. He's very solid in the ring, but he'll talk you into the building, as they say. And his promos were just so over the top and entertaining, and his matches were never really over the top. Or, you know, I mean, he did what he had to do, and he got over doing it, made a lot of money doing it. And then Hogan was the same way. His promos from the 80s are, you know, untouchable, man. They're just so over the top and charismatic and just rambled, and you didn't know really what the hell he was talking about, but at the end of the promo you were just like, you were ready to see him go and tear the shirt and drop the leg, and that's what he done, you know?
Or Dusty, you know?
Dusty was another guy
guy
too. He had both. I think you like to watch him work,
but
his promos were just he was awesome, man.
Well, even up until what was it, last year when he was in the ring with Stephanie, and like she was calling him old man, he's telling her to shut her mouth. Like,
and then Big Show had to knock him out. Fucking Big Show.
Fuck Big Show. Please retire. That's all I have to say.
But it's still though, even then, like he was holding his own. With
he was.
In the ring
and there's guys like that he doesn't get enough credit for things he done for the business, not just his matches and his promos. Yeah. But you know, I've seen it. You've seen it many times. Without him, there would be no big events. I think he's the one that I think come up. You know, everybody's getting him credit for the big draw, the big huge events. Without that, Starrcade, and without Starrcade, there'd be no Mania. You know, WrestleMania is the show, man. Without
it's true
what he done, you know.
Starrcade did it first, not closed circuit televisions, and then Vince was like, "Well, I can do it."
Well, I think Starrcade did it first on Thanksgiving, and then that's WWE went to Survivor Series to compete, and then Starrcade's like, "Fuck it, we'll move it to December instead of November," and it just kept getting bigger, and that's when Vince said, well, let's try fucking WrestleMania. And so therefore you got to give Dusty credit for a lot more than what people give him. Not saying he doesn't get his credit, because he does, but I think he done a lot more than people realize. You know, like Michael Hayes. We were talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
Fucking guy come up with a musical, like no one else used music except him. I'm like, and just his character, you know, I see a lot of the guys now, like that heel gimmick that he portrayed was ahead of its time. You know, without him, going back, I've always said it. Without him, I feel like the early Shawn Michaels heel gimmick took a lot from the Michael Hayes pretty boy. I'm better looking than anybody here, and
well, even Hollywood Hogan, you can kind of in some ways.
Man. Hogan,
to what Hayes was.
Hogan's the guy. I mean, what more can you say? He was over in the '80s, and then you didn't think he could get any better, and then he turned heel, and you're like, man. Then he became cool again. Yeah. It was like he became relevant,
and then he turned back face, but it was like just patron guy.
And now he's just fucking somewhere in between.
Yeah,
he still wears the boas and everything, but and with the beard, but he's a good guy. And I'm like, whatever, man. You're Hulk Hogan. He can do whatever.
He's basically this. He's just this conglomeration of all versions of Hogan.
Yeah. And he's still the most. He's the guy, man. I mean,
he's like a goddamn Super Saiyan.
He's
like his fourth evolution.
It does say immortal on now. Maybe that's what.
That's true.
He's immortal.
He's got the tattoo.
He is, which is weird.
That must be the label you get. Like,
it does, Once you get,
it's just we don't see a lot of dudes with their shirts off. That could be some immortal tattoos.
That's true. But if he's wrong about that, that's embarrassing.
That's true. That's going to be one that he should rethink. But it's okay. He's Hogan. He can do that.
He can turn some Randy Orton. Like,
oh man,
fucking
David Finlay.
We were watching David Finlay and Super Juniors. We're talking about on developmental talent. It's Finlay's boy. I mean, he's a good wrestler, but he does have very much the early Randy Orton tribal stuff on his back.
I always thought that
it's weird.
One guy that I always thought it threw his look off tremendously, like way fucking far off, was Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He just had the most random ass tattoos, like that one on his back and that dumbass jester thing he had. Like, you should probably get those covered up and that back one reworked, man, because that's just not working for you. And he didn't last long in the WWE, unfortunately.
Well, he kept getting hurt. Yeah,
and I think Orton kind of put the nail in him in that last match. He hurt Orton or something, and they sent him on his way. And a lot of guys in the WWE, they're just short-lived, and it's sad. And that's a lot of guys that could have been huge, like Hero. We talked about him earlier, man. They fired him because they're like, well, you don't lose weight, or you don't take your working out seriously, and then you're going to hire a fat piece of shit like Kevin Owens and push him to the moon. I'm like, what the fuck's... And if you like Kevin Owens, sorry, but fuck him.
Hoagie masturbates to Kevin Owens, but he's not here, so it's fine.
I mean, I understand. I mean, his in-ring work is good. He's fine. And he's over with the crowd. But it's just, he's one of those, I just feel like, not just him, but a lot of those guys are going to be the 15 minutes. He's the hot indie guy right now. Mm-hmm. And then in 2 years, he'll be back fucking in armories, I think. And because that's just the chain of command in the WWE. Everybody's just, CM Punk said it best. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan or I'm one of those guys. But all the guys in the WWE, except for maybe the exception of like Cena and maybe Orton, are just spokes in one wheel.
Yeah.
They're going to leave and someone else is going to take their fucking spot. Mm-hmm. And because as much as I like CM Punk on TV, him leaving didn't hurt them as a company.
Yeah. No.
It's the same with Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just something, they'll find somebody else.
He sucks, but then he's replaced by somebody else immediately.
Yeah. Somebody else will be the baby face.
Owens in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be the guy, you know? I mean, and it, like you said, it sucks, but people aren't coming to the shows. Or not coming to the shows because of it. Like, I went to a house show in Knoxville and they announced Cena wasn't going to be there, and they're like, you can get a refund. I didn't see anybody getting up and running for the fucking the fucking exits. It was just, that's what it was. I mean, like, they don't care. They're going to go regardless because it's like we said earlier, it's the company that you go watch. That's it.
I'll tell you what, I want to go back to your career.
Yes.
Have you ever had anybody want to fight you for something you've done in the ring?
I've tried, man. I've tried to get people to come into the ring, and I've had people threaten they're going to wait for me outside, but they just, no.
They just never do.
No, I have it'll be another show because we're running out of time, but I've got good stories from Loverboy Brock Lesnar has an amazing fan story.
We'll be talking to him, man.
Yes, and have him go over those. But no, man, it's not. I've tried so hard to get people to do it, and they just won't. It just depends on the town you're in. Some towns, some crowds are smart to it. They know what it is, and then other people, you could stand there and be like, it's not real, and they'd never fucking believe you.
We were at a KCW show recently, and a woman went under the rope.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
After another woman.
After another woman, yeah.
Was it a woman?
Yeah.
A woman after another woman?
Yeah.
I'll see.
It was,
I don't know. But security stopped it and put the kibosh. But she kept getting up like she was hot. Like she wanted to.
Yeah, she would have fought.
Yeah, I've tried, man.
Senior citizens seem to be the ones who lose control.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We've seen more than one old man have to be escorted out of a building.
Some of the most hostile people.
Take his belt off and hit somebody.
Some of the most hostile people I've ever had in a crowd have been the older senior citizen people, man. They just, I don't know, there's something about it.
Well, I guess it's because you still haven't moved on from the whole, like, if you see a wrestler in a bar, he's going to kick your ass.
They think they want to test the wrestler. You know, they're still pissed off over old school shit that happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, sorry that fucking Andre turned on Hogan. Yeah. You know, sorry. You know, I mean, Bruno dropped the title to Koloff in the Garden. Sorry. So. Even Ed Lewis lost a match, right? So that's fucking that's a fucking name to dust off, right? Ed Strangler Lewis, right? I guarantee no one else talks about him on your fucking on this show.
Hoagie might have.
Hoagie might have on a This Week in Wrestling hit, not like regular talk.
Does he do like a This Week in Wrestling? That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. That's on Developmental Talent. We do that each week. So
that's really cool.
He does that.
So I need to get like your guys' opinions. Like, who do you guys feel like, wrestling wise, is just the ultimate? You watched his match and went, there's no fucking body better.
Well, I'll tell you who got me into wrestling is Hogan.
Okay, fair enough. Great
Hogan
answer.
got me into it, but Hogan's not like the end all be all guy.
No, I mean,
it's probably, I just had more fun watching Road Warriors.
That's an amazing answer, man. That's probably the greatest. I was more of a Demolition fan, admittedly, because I was a WWF kid. You know, I didn't get a lot of Turner stuff.
I was a WCW kid because I didn't get WWF stuff.
Yeah, see, so I just think that's got a lot to do with it. What about you?
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, dude, fucking you didn't even have to think, did you?
No.
Also, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
I
think Shinsuke Nakamura is possibly the current best wrestler alive right now.
Could be. I will not argue that very often. So.
And I like Tanahashi a lot.
I like Tanahashi. Another guy I haven't mentioned who's another one of my big favorites would be, Muta. I think Great Muta is the greatest.
Liger is good.
Liger, I think Great Muta is the greatest Japanese performer that we've had the pleasure of watching on television.
And the guys like Muta and Liger and Tiger Mask, are just ageless dudes apparently.
Yes, yes. Muta has grown and evolved over the years, and he's like, he looks as cool now as he ever.
I think he looks cooler. He's got more
the bald and his like all his gimmicks and stuff are cooler now, and he's evolved very well, and he's a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit, or he does, but not over here. Because the only people remember him over here is his WCW run.
Yeah, and the thing is, in American wrestling, there's not been a big laundry list of successful Japanese wrestlers that were actually Japanese.
You're right.
Yokozuna doesn't count.
He's Samoan.
He's Samoan.
But that's why, like, when they recently said, Hideo Itami was hurt he's out for 8 months. It's like he might be like the first guy who's like the Japanese guy who makes it like in the current day WWE.
I agree. He very well could be, because they've not, like, nailed it best. There's not been. I know WCW, you guys, they always had the talent trade with like New Japan, so they brought a lot of guys over, and that's shown a lot of us. Chono's so good, awesome. Who else? Like, that's where I first saw Muta.
I tell you who I liked a lot, and we talk about him a lot, but his career got short, was Hayabusa.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunately. Yeah. One of my favorite moments, though, we'll go back to that. You guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this, you probably have. Was Muta and Liger. You guys ever watched their match?
No.
Okay, I'm going to spoil it because it's one of my favorite stories to tell, right? So they're doing the match, and Muta starts fucking ripping off Liger's mask and shit, right? And fucking finally gets it torn off, and just like turns around, looks at the crowd, and like he fucking turns around, and Liger pops up, and his face is painted just like Muta's.
Oh yeah,
coolest shit, man, I've ever seen. And like some of the entrances Muta had done where he saved, I can't remember the guy he did was like a run in, but the heels were putting the heat and beating up the baby face, and the fucking ring fills up with smoke, and it fucking disappears, and Muta's just standing there over top. I'm like, man, that's so fucking cool.
He's doing like Darth Muta, like the Darth Maul look, and he's done a Spider Muta.
Well, he did
a bunch of stuff.
He feuded with, you remember Hakushi that was in the WWF for early on. The White Angel, he feuded with like Bret Hart and stuff. He was Japanese and all tattooed up.
Yeah.
He did a feud with Muta in Japan, and Muta dressed exactly the same, but it was on black. So it was
that's cool.
Yeah, and he was like
the reverse.
He did a different name, and instead of it meant something like demon something. It was so
that
cool.
happens. We're talking about that happens a lot in Japan.
Yeah.
Like they'll have like Liger and Evil Liger, and like they'll have like the reverse image because they're like anime characters. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. Well, over there, like, you guys can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but over there, it's like there's a little bit more of a gray area as far as like heels and baby faces or not. Doesn't the crowd just kind of?
Yeah.
Well,
It's
for
like
instance, Shinsuke Nakamura, Okada, all these dudes, they're in Chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos is a heel faction.
Yeah.
But they're a heel faction who only fight heels.
See, that would never
and
work.
so they get
over
cheered.
here.
And then whenever they fight like just regular New Japan guys, they're the obvious bad guys. But Nakamura's kind of like Flair over there. Like he doesn't get booed.
Yeah.
He doesn't get booed. He gets beat down.
But he's never been.
He doesn't get booed.
Well, Flair was the same way. I mean, you've paid Flair's matches back then were, and I don't mean this negatively, but they were all the same. Like you would go in, the babyface would beat him up, and he would find a way to win.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 16-time heavyweight champion for a reason, right? I mean, there's only been a few things in Flair's career that I found questionable. One being him taking the belt to WWF. I feel like that was, and then for Vince to turn around and put his belt on him, I'm like, he just fucked Turner Broadcasting. You're going to give him your belt? That's the one thing I could be like. I just don't, in the grand scheme of things, I just would never think somebody like Ric Flair would do business like that, you know. But
I think in the thing it was something about
he
was the one who actually bought the belt,
or like something like when you had the when you had the belt, no matter who had the belt, they made you pay a deposit apparently. And I'd heard, I guess, that maybe they kept his deposit. If that's the case, okay, fine, I get that. But at the same time, it's like, and then like the fucking Medusa dropping the belt in the trash can, and they make that a big deal. I'm like, not to be sexist or anything, but I'm like, it's just the women's title. And in the Grims in wrestling, no one cares. No offense to the ladies out there. Some of the ladies.
Well, at the time, it wasn't a big topic.
No, exactly.
And WCW didn't do anything with it. That's the thing.
No,
they didn't have a women's division.
No,
they did, but
and the thing is like, and you know, we'll have to discuss this for just a few more minutes before we close out, guys, because this is my favorite topic in wrestling is the Montreal screw job.
Okay.
Everybody wants to talk about, you know, Vince. Okay, Brett did what he had to do. A lot of people are like, is it a shoot? Is it a work? I'm kind of on the fence about it. I feel like it can be. I feel like it might be a work. If you go back and watch Wrestling with Shadows,
I think it's a work too.
If you go back and watch Wrestling with Shadows, it makes it look like a fucking work because Brett talks about it and he's like, I talked to Earl and he's real dramatic about it. And he's like, Earl said he promised on his kids that he wouldn't let anything happen. It just sets it up to where you're gonna go, they're gonna fuck this guy. Like if you're watching Wrestling with Shadows, it's like watching a fucking Western movie. It's like they're gonna all turn on this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's it. And everybody Vince didn't want Brett to take the belt, blah blah. At the time, Vince didn't even acknowledge WCW existed. So I really don't feel like it'd been like, well, he come out the next night on Nitro with the belt, send somebody else out on Nitro on Raw with the belt and being like, he's gone. He doesn't fucking matter anymore. So I'm like, I just kind of feel like, and if it is a work, no one will ever fucking say it's a work.
Jerry
someone
dies.
dies.
Work too.
Does he?
Yep.
That's fucking proof enough for me. So I feel like it could be.
Well, he at least thinks it could be.
I feel like it could. Anything could be. But I just like. I mean, I want to believe it because, no offense to anybody listening, I fucking hate Bret Hart. I don't like Bret Hart. If you listen to his interviews, he's all fucking pro Bret Hart. He's the reason fucking Kevin Nash left WWF in the first place. So he was bitching about a match, and Nash Hall was already about to leave, and that was another fucking So fuck Bret Hart. He wouldn't do business if he deserved. If it was a shoot, he deserved it.
Yeah.
Because fuck you. You can't lose in Canada. I can't lose. Does that mean I don't have to fucking lose in the States?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
It is. That's the Bret Hart book of wrestling.
Yeah. I think somebody needed to set Bret down early on and go, dude, it's a fucking work.
Yeah.
I think the way he was trained and brought up with Stu, and Stu was a fucking legit wrestler, and Bret believed in it, and I'm glad he did, but fuck you, dude.
He just don't lose in Canada.
Man.
Montreal people, they don't report to Canada anyway. So
fuck you. What's it matter? It's like that'd been like anybody else going, well, I can't lose in the States.
Yeah.
So no, fuck you, Brett. So no, could be a work, couldn't be. Either way, I'm glad it happened. So and he needs to really get the fuck over himself at this point. So
there you go. You hear that, Bret Hart?
fuck you. Not that I'll ever meet you or anything, but and if you
Next
hear
month.
this, next month. By the way,
Brett's booked.
we got him booked. God, if you're paying his fucking PO, Jesus Christ,
That's why we don't get paid.
it's all going to Bret Hart, right?
No, all our money goes to conspiracies to try to book wrestlers that other wrestlers talk about on our show, so we can start confrontations and start a YouTube channel.
So then we just fight each other.
It's all a plan.
Brett,
Yeah.
I think I could take Brett at this point, though. He's had a stroke.
I mean,
he's vulnerable, right?
were you trained in the dungeon?
Take his left side.
Hey,
No.
Did you get trained in the dungeon?
I did not, no.
Okay.
I'm going to start doing that as my gimmick, though. Yeah, I might as well. Than everybody else in Canada.
Yeah.
I think any Canadian wrestler is like, I got trained in the dungeon. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Stu's been dead longer than you've been alive.
Yeah.
I love fucking, was it Lawler or both? When the Heenan and Lawler commentary on the Hart family was priceless.
Well,
fucking priceless.
Heenan is just being Heenan. Lawler hated him.
Did he really?
He didn't like Brett a lot.
I don't think anybody really liked Brett a lot in the back, though, so. Good. Good. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, I like talking about script. Just because I like to get other people's opinions. Like Matt said, you think it's a work too?
I think it's a work too.
I feel like it could be a work, so who knows? When someone dies, it'll finally come to pass.
When Vince dies, a lot of stuff will come out, I think.
That'd be the ultimate shoot interview, guys. I've always said that. Can you imagine that?
If he'd
never do.
He never do it.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has that in his system. I think he's just such a carnival barker that he doesn't. He wouldn't tell the truth. I think once something happens, it's whatever he makes in his head, and that is the truth.
You're probably right about that. Yeah, I firmly believe that. So
you have to tell people what they want to hear for so long, and you got to handle these guys with huge egos, and you're juggling everything like shit.
But a couple of times, Stephanie said that he set her down and been like, "Look, this is what's really happened. This is the only time I'm ever going to say it. Just so you know, this was happening."
Shit, yeah.
Like before the steroid trials. He supposedly set like the whole family down and told everything that really happened, and said, "I'm never going to say this again."
Cleared his conscience, I guess, at one time.
I guess what the family wouldn't think, like
that's another thing we could go on about the steroids bullshit. I'm like, why? Let them take it. It's a cosmetic. People watch wrestling for how people, you're supposed to look a certain way. Yeah. Some people naturally can't.
I mean, look at you. You're roided the fuck out right
I know, man. Goddamn. I mean, all of us guys are, right? Here's my theory on it. I'm just going to say this once, and I'm not knocking anybody, but to maintain a certain physique like that, you have to work out a lot. And I know the guys are limited and shit, but look at John Cena. You think a guy like that, at his age, that's on the road 300 days a year, can keep that physique naturally?
Yeah.
Or look at The Rock.
Well, The Rock obviously couldn't, as he tore all his abdomen muscles, which is an exact injury
because it dries you out. It dries all your shit out.
But for him, Hollywood. That's the thing. Hollywood doesn't give a shit if you're on steroids.
No.
You know.
No, not at all.
There's no way.
I just feel like all sporting events should allow. It makes it entertaining to watch for me. So fuck it, man. But
I don't know.
Well, plus especially something where it's predetermined.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I know a lot of people want to bitch. They want to bring up, and I don't want to black eye anything, but they want to bring up the Benoit thing. I'm like, that had shit to do with steroids. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they had a little bit.
Yeah,
he was bright. He was fucked in the head. Yeah. Steroids didn't have shit. Well, I mean, of course, it probably didn't help, but it's not exactly. That's not why it wasn't roid rage.
Yeah.
He fucking murdered people over a 3-day span. It wasn't just roid rage. So no. And of course, if you. Again, like you said, he was just fucked in the head. So there's nothing. Yeah, so I say let him take it. I mean, no, I'm not saying which I'm sure they do. I've been drug tested before. They don't test for. So they say they drug test. Yeah, they probably do, but they've never said what they drug test for.
Yeah,
they test for synthetic marijuana.
Real and synthetic. That's their biggest fucking problem. Kevin Nash said it perfect in an interview. If they would let the boys smoke weed, there'd be a lot less fucking deaths.
Yeah.
Because then they wouldn't have to go to other shit.
Pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah. If you just let them smoke weed, there wouldn't be near as many people dead.
Yep.
So I think he said it best. So
there we go.
We got that's pretty good for.
We had quite to talk.
Yeah.
We talked wrestling.
Yeah.
We talked movies. We talked video games.
Comic books.
We talked more wrestling.
More wrestling.
What more could you fucking want out of an interview? Right?
Possible rumors. We talked everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty all encompassing, man.
It is. I think we covered. We did well.
Yeah.
There's no nudity this time.
Well, they don't know that.
This time.
I just ruined the illusion.
You just fucking. We could have been sitting around here the whole way.
We just had 2 shows where no one was wearing pants. So, we gotta
true.
Book me on that next one. You guys do that. So
we schedule.
You guys want to talk about any? Is there any upcoming guests you guys want to?
We got a few planned, but we still got to contact them all and set it all up. So
I'm looking forward to listening.
This independent talent thing, we're still flying by the seat of our pants on it. Developmental talent, we got that shit down. This show is a little more. This show's actually proven to be a little more time intensive because we can't just turn on. If we have no ideas, we can't just turn on a Monday night show and watch it and bitch about it. We have to go to shows,
book,
find people, talk to them. It's a whole thing. So
it's a lot of fucking trouble. It may not last.
And at any time, one of us ends up on a bender and then nothing gets done. You just never can tell. Really, so
depends on how drugged up we are.
It's a whole thing.
Let's see. What's the next show's coming? August 1st. All the listeners, please. London, Kentucky, the Optimist Club in London. It'll be all over Facebook and social media. Cole Cabana will be there along with Cliff Compton. So guys, come out to support independent wrestling. Please.
Pro Wrestling Revolution. And also, if anybody heard this podcast and wants to send you some type of death threats or maybe booking info, how can they get a hold of you?
Facebook. Corey Statik on Facebook. That's Static with a K at the end, not a C like the normal, because I had to set myself apart somehow, right? Everybody's cool, right? So, if you want to bitch at me, please add me and feel free. You wouldn't be the first, nor the last. So, so that's, I think what you guys are doing is fucking awesome. I'm glad to be on here, and I'm looking forward. I'd love to do it again sometime, and it's great. We need to do more stuff like this.
Awesome.
Video things and film things as opposed to just record. So,
well, I think the film things that Lemonjuice is talking about doing, I don't think you want to be a part of. They're
what's the payday?
It depends if you survive it.
Hey man, that sounds like a weekend road trip to me, man. There's some good ones. So we need to do a part 2 though. There's more stuff that I think we could discuss.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
please do.
Yeah. We'd like to probably have you on developmental talent sometime too, where all we do is sit and talk about.
Perfect. Next time you're in town,
wrestling,
or I'll travel to you if need be. I don't care. So I've been traveling farther for less fun. So. Trust me. There's nothing like a 5-hour road trip to have a shitty match and then a 5-hour trip back where you bitch the whole time. Done it.
And there we go. That's our first interview on Independent Talent.
Yep. Awesome.
With Corey Statik.
Thank you guys.
And there's the roll-up.
And that's our show for this week. Thanks for listening to Independent Talent. We hoped you dug the interview. Thought it went well.
Yeah, I think so.
Corey Statik, cool guy.
Yep.
Go to one of the shows he's booked on. If you book shows, get a hold of that guy.
Yep.
Well worth your time. No viewer mail to read this week, as weird as that is. So I guess we'll skip that part. Episode 4 coming up. Possibly not in the same time frame as this one. We'll see. We're still juggling the schedule with developmental talent and independent talent, figure out exactly what kind of deal we're doing on that. We're trying to give the same amount of time to both podcasts because they both deserve, but they have different audiences, so we're trying to work it out.
Plus, we want to run from the law.
Yeah, running from the law and recording a podcast. Wi-Fi is not available everywhere.
It's true. Some places you got to pay for it also.
When you're holed up in a mud pit, there's not a lot of ways to throw these files to Dropbox, so it's a problem.
Yeah.
Definite problem. But, one day we'll learn. One day we'll quit killing hookers. But that day's not today. So
probably not tomorrow either.
Probably
the next day.
Probably not. So, there you go. So episode 3 of Independent Talent in the bag. Here's Cheyenne to tell you all of the details and how to reach us and blah, blah, blah. Hit our Facebook. Fun times.
This might be the end of the episode, but the beat goes on for Independent Talent Online. Check out news, upcoming events, and massive photo galleries by liking the Independent Talent Podcast Facebook page. Also, feel free to hit us up with your opinions, suggestions, bitching, and moaning by sending emails to independenttalentpodcast@gmail.com. Oh, and for the love of wrestling, please support your local indie federations. Now get moving! We've got to get these chairs stacked and the trailer loaded.